Welcome everyone. It's my pleasure to take you to a tour to 2025 in about half an hour, just to explore what is happening around IoT and around the world and what we can expect. So, by the way, I like this picture of the old world, the old wired world, and if you go to places nearby, somewhere in France even, I think this one is from Texas in USA, you can experience these nice wired world. When you talk about 2025 and what's going to happen, and you Google 2025 technology innovation, you get piles of pictures with tech cars and people with tech helmets and whatever. But this picture is, for me, is a metaphor which expresses what we are going to experience. It's a little bit vague. We really don't know. It's exciting, like on a fun fair. This is a fun fair. Some people are afraid of it. They don't want to try these kinds of machines. Other people love it and they want to take another ride again. So this is what we are going about to experience. And the challenge of tomorrow is when you look at all the things which is going to happen around artificial intelligence and IoT, blockchain, is data, data, data. We're going to have huge amounts of data. We thought we are in the big data area right now, but we are just going to start. So if you look at the data we will have available in the next few years, it might look like this, a pile of garbage, and you have to find your own data, the quality you need for your business. On the other hand, for me, it's also a metaphor because I'm trying to do some prediction of the future, just like all the companies do, like Signify, IBM. I saw Louis de Bruin is coming tomorrow. I know him very well. Microsoft, Google, but also universities. And everyone is producing views and visions of 2020, 2025. So for me, as a kind of trend watcher, it's also a pile of information where I have to determine what shall I pick and what is right. So it are predictions. We don't know where we will stand in 2025, but I think we are getting very close to an accurate prediction. So my statement is what's going to happen with artificial intelligence, with blockchain, with robotics, with deep learning. It's all coming together around IoT, Internet of Things. Everything will be connected to each other. And it starts with artificial intelligence, IoT, when you connect two things to each other and they don't have any intelligence or there is no process, you don't have any value. So it starts with the adding of artificial intelligence. And machine learning and deep learning. These two mechanisms, these two concepts are necessary to make artificial intelligence really intelligent. The Internet of Things, I think everyone by now knows what it is. A number of cars already are connected. We all know the example of the intelligent fridge, which will order you a package of milk when you're out of milk. I, by the way, do that rather myself. But that's where we started a few years ago. We got to have intelligent fridges, but we are far more now than the view was at that time. Blockchain. Blockchain is a very important enabler, and I will touch it very briefly because Louis de Bruin is coming tomorrow, and he's a real expert. But it's a real important enabler for process, for logistics, tracking of and tracing of food, but also for healthcare and for financial processes. And it's just started. It's just starting. It's just beginning. And then we have 5G, which is a very important enabler because all those data from all those sensors and all the other things of the internet have to be transmitted. So 5G is, I think, about 1,000 times faster than 4G, but we also have Wi-Fi. Anyone familiar with Wi-Fi? Some, I see, okay. Very short introduction of Wi-Fi because you will learn more today or maybe tomorrow in the program. Wi-Fi is data transmission through light, which is about 100 plus times faster than Wi-Fi, which is the new trend where you combine two kind of utilities, light and data transmission. So these are the new concepts where you see that certain functionality, which was for now standalone, like 4G and Wi-Fi through routers, will be combined in this case with light. Very exciting, I think. Now let's look at where we are standing regarding the capacity of computers. We are almost crossing the human performance. Science and our big tech companies are almost ready to exceed the human brain, which is, when we put it on a schedule like this, a scheme like this, if you take an ant, a bird is somewhat smarter, then comes the chimpanzees, our nephews, our cousins, and then we have the stupid humans and Einstein really close together. And for a long time we had artificial intelligence on the level of the ant, and now we are just like a rocket. We are coming to the point where at this moment we say to each other, hey look, that robot can really do nice monkey tricks. But in a few years, and we don't know exactly when, it will be like this. What the because it could be, and it will be, that robotics, computers, artificial intelligence will outsmart us. It's a fact, the scientists say, but nobody knows exactly when that will happen. And the two enablers of this very fast developments are the technology, which is exponential growing every year over and over again, and the costs are dropping like crazy. About 4 or 5 years ago, you paid about €2 for 1 gigabyte in the cloud. Now you can get it even for 0.2 cents. So these are the enablers for our very fast technology coming up. And this is what I call a gallery of disruptive technologies, where the internet, mobile internet, of course, is number one, because we all want to have everywhere internet available, the connection to the internet. It's also very important, of course, for the Internet of Things. But on the third place is the Internet of Things. It's a real game changer. It's on the third place of all the game changers in the list. And it will develop in a way that within 7 years from now, 2025, you might say to each other, remember when we were at Signify, the tall, bald guy told us about some things we didn't believe at that time? Wow, it all happened. So the question is, if you're talking about data, how big is big? And we think we have a lot of data right now at the moment in the world. Well, let's take self-driving cars. Complete self-driving cars, autonomous cars, currently produce 4,000 gigabytes a day per car. That is huge. So imagine if we have 25 million self-driving cars on the road around the world, and currently we have 1 billion cars, so it's a best guess for maybe the next year or the next 2 years. They will produce 50 million petabytes a day, and a petabyte is, I think, 1,000 gigabytes. So this is really enormous, and we are only talking about the autonomous driving cars. We are not talking about all the other IoT installations we will have in place at that time. So when all the cars in the world will be connected in 2030, we are talking about, well, don't even try to pronounce it, but it's very, very much data. So we have to find a way to store our data on another kind of way, maybe with plasma or whatever, but we also have to find a way to make a shift between the data we want to keep and the data we want to throw away. And we are not very good in throwing things away. We always want to keep everything. So, let's look at the Internet of Everything, because it's maybe better to speak of the Internet of Everything instead of the Internet of Things. Because now, currently in a lot of farms, plants are connected. Plants can say, I need water. That's a simple one. But also with sensors, they can say, I warn you because there's a pest coming. I need some pesticide. And Monsanto would like that very much, of course. The soil temperature, everything. So everything can be monitored from a distance. By the way, the slides are available afterwards. So you can take pictures, of course, but it's not necessary. We have wearables. A friend of mine who's a real data freak, he runs and he uses his watch to control his heartbeat, but he also has a shirt with sensors who said to him, "You're sweating too much, calm down." So, well, if you're a data freak, maybe that's a nice way, but there are also other kinds of way. That's why I call it the Internet of everything instead of the Internet of Things, because I don't want humans to call humans a thing. Currently, we are experimenting all over the world with sensors in bodies. And a few weeks ago, I had a session with a professor, a medical professor, a Dutch medical professor, and he said, in 2022, that's about 4 years from now, I'm sitting at home, 11 o'clock, I just had a whiskey, and I started to go to bed, and then the doorbell rings, and when I open the door, there are 2 guys in white coats, and I asked them, "What are you coming for?" And they say, "We come to get you because between now and 2 hours you are going to get a heart attack." Because from the sensors in your body, we can see values going up, and so prediction is going very rapidly. And of course, you might know the examples of the large farms with the cattle, where cows say through their sensors, "I'm going to have labor, my temperature is rising, I'm sick, you have to take care of me." So, it's about data, and it's also about your customers. And your customers, just like all the discussions around Facebook, we are all profiles of data on the internet, for Facebook, for the government, for you probably, for your customers who come in your store. So this is very important that data will be the enabler for new business and new concepts. Let's take a look at some facts. 15 billion things will be connected in 2025. That's a lot. That's a prediction. And most of the time, predictions are lower than reality. So maybe it will be more in about 7 years. It will be a $10 trillion market. That's what financial analysts are currently saying. Internet of Things can be applied almost in every sector. So it will be a huge market. That's why everyone nowadays, even Vodafone, I heard a commercial this morning on the radio, even Vodafone, which is a cell phone carrier, is making advertisements about their IoT platform. IBM, Google, Amazon, everyone has an IoT platform nowadays. Everyone is looking to that market. There will be more than 4 billion machine-to-machine connections. So that allows us to make processes autonomous. So machines can connect to each other and they can give each other commands or perform processes. The projected IoT impact, the economic impact, will be 11 trillion. Don't even try to write it with a number of zeros in it, because it's a very huge amount, and business models are going to change. There are companies who you might know the app to use for navigation. Waze, is someone using Waze here? I see some people, yeah. Well, Waze is bought by Google a few years ago. It was invented in Israel. And the only thing Waze has is a huge data room with servers. But all the data they get is from 40 million users, and they combine the data and they sell it to government, to local government, just to make traffic better and to avoid the traffic jam. So the business model is, we don't have everything. We have 40 million users who give us data, and we sell it, we process it, and we sell it to a government and other parties who are interested. So you don't have to own things anymore to make money. That's the statement. It's very, very vulnerable. A friend of mine who is a real good technician, he says to me, when we take the city of Eindhoven or the city of Amsterdam or London, there are tens of thousands of things which are unprotected, like doorbells with, who work on Wi-Fi with an IP address, security cameras, you name it, and there are thousands and tens of thousands of it. So if we want, with let's say about 4 or 5 technical guys, we can shut down Amsterdam for, let's say, 24 hours. We don't do it, he said, but it's possible. So the vulnerability is very high, and security is key, and that's why it's currently a big issue coming up. And our privacy is in danger, but you all are familiar, of course, with the discussions with Mark Zuckerberg here in the EU and in the US about privacy, and that's only Facebook, because there's a lot more. Now, we talk about artificial intelligence and IoT. But consider this. Let's say this is your car, and you're in a parking lot. And you want to go home, and you had a tough day, and you go to your car, and your car is totally abandoned from all the cars in the parking lot. And someone draw 2 circles around it. One with a dotted line, and the other one, the solid line. So what will you do if you come to your car? You probably get in and get home. And you think, what fool has drawn 2 circles around my car? Now, if this would be an autonomous driving car, it would stay there forever. Because it's conditioned not to cross a solid line. It's conditioned to cross a dotted line. So if you draw a dotted line inside the solid line, then it would go home. So this is why I sometimes call artificial intelligence conditioned intelligence, because we are the ones, still, humans are the ones who conditioned it, and it's not intelligence by itself yet. But I think this is a nice example. A little movie about supply chain, you're all familiar with this, of course, the automatic warehouses. I have an example of Alibaba where they have the threefold the output with 70% less human labor. And then after your automatic warehouse, you put it in your truck. This is a truck from Otto, which is doing experiments in the US, an autonomous driving truck. And if you're lucky, there are robots unloading the car and bring it into your shop. This is about supply chain. The other one is also an important one. That's the traceability. That's also where Louis de Bruin will talk about tomorrow, the guy from IBM. We are now able, apparently the consumer wants to know where the coffee bean comes from, where he or she drinks his coffee from. So we are able, using blockchain technology, in a very simple way to trace where your coffee is coming from. Maybe in the future even which slope of the mountain in Brazil, I don't know, but it's a very important one, and blockchain is a very important enabler in this, because the fraud will be less, because you have not one single point where you do your administration, but it's around the whole chain. I guess the next movie will also be familiar for a lot of you, because that's Amazon Go.
Use the Amazon Go app to enter. Then put away your phone and start shopping. It's really that simple. Take whatever you like. Anything you pick up is automatically added to your virtual cart. If you change your mind about that cupcake, just put it back. Our technology will update your virtual cart automatically.
So you are familiar with this? I guess most of you. It's going rapidly. Amazon Go now is rolling out in the US, maybe on a modest scale, I don't know. But Ahold, the large retailer in Europe here and also in the US, has also announced to adopt this kind of concept, so you can walk in, scan your phone, pick your groceries and go out. I like it very much, by the way. And talking about changing business models, Ahold also has announced to deliver hot meals at home. So started as a retailer and now in the food delivery business. Competitor of Deliveroo and the other local food companies. This is a very
what you're going to
interesting
hear is the Google Assistant actually calling a real salon to schedule the appointment for you. Let's listen.
How can I help you? Hi, I'm calling to book a women's haircut for a client. I'm looking for something on May 3rd. Sure, give me 1 second.
This is unbelievable. I mean, we are used to Siris and Google Assistants talking like this, what do you like? Just maybe a year ago. And now I was in San Jose in Silicon Valley in February in a 2-day congress about conversational AI, so the conversational platforms, AI-powered, artificial intelligence powered. And there was only one subject in the conference, and Amazon was there, IBM, Google, Microsoft, and a lot of universities. And one subject was natural language. How can we teach the assistants, the robots, to speak natural language? And this is the first one, Google Duplex, who says, well, you'll be fooled. I mean, you won't even know in a few years anymore if you're talking to a human or to a bot. Okay. Face recognition. Is someone of you working with face recognition already in your concepts? It's a very privacy-like thing, of course. Amazon is with recognition, with a K in it instead of a C, is far ahead of the rest at this moment. There's even a civil rights movement now in the US that asks Amazon to stop providing these services to the US police because everyone will be monitored on the street, and well, we don't want to live in a police state. So object and scene detection works very, very well. It's really incredible. Facial analysis, is he or she happy, sad, or whatever, or has the person a bad intention? Google is now exploring how we can read intention of people's faces. Face comparison, of course, with or without a beard. It's about your eyes and your jug bones, etc., and your ears. So face recognition is getting better and better, and facial recognition about who is who. And now with a smart camera and IA-powered software, they can scan a crowd and they can say, well, 92% is happy. Well, it's maybe somebody in a theater or whatever. 45% is watching. There are some moustaches. There are glasses. But this is very important when you are about to have a concept where you want to know what is the crowd which is coming to me, or I could have a camera here and then make some analytics about you, but unfortunately I have not. And this is the next step, Attention Architects. It's a startup in Amsterdam. And what they do is they track eyes, eye tracking. Are you familiar with eye tracking? Maybe some of you? So nowadays they still use a glass to track the eyes, but they are currently developing with industry and universities cameras you can put everywhere in your store, so you can track eyes of everyone, every visitor, every customer in your store, and you have a lot of data about what are they looking at, how do I have to change my store, which products do I need to replace, whatever. And even when you combine it with face recognition, you can customize the next time this customer comes in some things in your store. Now this is just a side step, but I think it's very interesting, so I wanted to share it with you. It's about the human organ chips, it's about nanotechnology, it's about sensors. A number of hospitals and universities now is using inside people's bodies. So, for instance, in cancer treatment, they put sensors near the, how do you call it? Tumors, thank you, just the same in Dutch. And they measure what chemo or other medication is doing just there at that place where it should do something. And it can adjust the medicine very fine-tuned for that person. So when you combine it with this, I just let you read it.
10:43 a.m.
So this is developed by MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. I had the pleasure to speak with Ruud Veltenaar, one of the professors there, a few months ago. This is, alter ego is a concept which reads your brain waves. So you just think, what time is it? And the system says to you, it's 10:41. Or you can do commands like you saw, scroll down, go left, and select. The algorithm in alter ego now can handle about 150 commands you can give with your thoughts, but it's growing very rapidly. So if you combine this with the chips we can put and the sensors inside of people's bodies, human bodies, you have the next concept coming up, and now it's getting really exciting or scary, just whatever you like, whatever you prefer. I prefer exciting because it's happening anyway, so you can be scared, but you can't stop it. MIT is developing a chip with which they will bring, they think, onto the market in 2024. It's about 6 years. A chip that will cost around $400, maybe $200, but very affordable, cheaper than a smartphone anyway, than an iPhone. And this chip will give you entrance to cloud services. So you can not only Google with your smartphone what you can do now, so how many people are living in Berlin, but you can ask complex questions, and you can, what you normally solve with a number of people or with your brains, you can put in the cloud and you get an answer back. And the next step is when you use this chip that you can enhance your IQ with about 100 points. So if you are smart by yourself, let's say 130, an IQ of 130, you might be able to have an IQ of 230. Because you extend your brain, you connect it to the internet, and you have a lot of more brain power and cognitive knowledge. And the next thing is that the chip can be implemented, because technically we know we can do this, because we do it with people who miss an arm, for instance, and they get an artificial arm, and they are able to steer it with their thoughts. So maybe in 2025 you have a chip and you click it just in your docking station behind your ear, and you are 100 IQ points smarter. Let's see. This is especially the kind of story where I'm very excited about and very curious to see if it's really going to happen in 2025. Well, let's wrap up with the technology trends. IA-enabled IoT, or IoE, I prefer IoE, Internet of Everything, is a real game changer. And with all the elements in it, like blockchain, artificial intelligence, deep learning, machine learning, robotics, etc. But IoT will be the connection of everything in the world, and it will, it's about to exceed human power, human brain power. So this is the exciting moment where I could not say we all have been waiting for, but a number of people have been waiting for. Stephen Hawking predicted that it would be the end of mankind. So let's hope he was not right. We will be connected without an interface, so you wouldn't need a smartphone anymore, because you just think and you get your information back, like you saw with the alter ego of MIT. And technology will become smart and autonomous. And autonomous is very interesting because we are shifting from command and control processes, machines, to just control and see what's happening and monitor. That's a shift which will happen absolutely. The data transmission, very important, of course, with the Internet of Things. The number of data which will be transmitted between sensors, between things, has to increase. So 5G and Wi-Fi are very important. And real big data is about to start. So what are the closing remarks? What should I take away if I was in your place now listening to myself? Business models are changing. Like Ahold, who delivers hot meals, like Waze, which get the data from 40 million people who give it for free and then make money out of it. We have a customized world for the customer. So you as a civilian of a country or as a customer of a company, your information, your services will be more and more and more customized. It will be your service and not a service for the group of customers. We have information, but also intelligence on demand, and the last thing is the most exciting, I think, that we can enlarge our intelligence by the chip which is coming from MIT. And you will have deep insight about your customer behavior. The government can have deep insight about civilian behavior. And who's familiar with the social project in China, which is currently going on? Yeah, I see some hints, which I think it's very scary. China intends to monitor every civilian in China, and there are a lot, with cameras. So you will be recognized walking on the street, and the moment you cross the road and the traffic light is red for you, you get minus points. And when you do that a number of times, you're going to be cut off from certain services. So the system, a little bit like The Circle. Did you see the movie The Circle? It's It's a little bit like The Circle. The system will monitor everyone, and they will punish you or they will reward you. And that's, for me, I think, living in the free world, a step too far. Security can become a showstopper. Well, I already said a few smart guys can shut down Amsterdam for 24 hours, or maybe a whole country, I don't know. And privacy will become more and more a serious issue. Also, organizations like Avast, you might have heard of them, fighting for the better world, are focusing now on our privacy. So, you ain't seen nothing yet, but the question is, should we be afraid? Well, I don't think so, because it's just happening. So you can be afraid and let it happen, and then you're afraid while it's happening, or you can be prepared. So read about it, try to catch up with all the developments, try to use the benefits of it, and just enjoy, because it's going to happen anyway. And last but not least, don't forget to comply with GDPR. Okay, thank you very much.